Off the Beaten Path. Off the Beaten Path. Brand new country. And we're not talking that top 40 crap either. This is where you can hear great singers and songwriters, and they just don't have the backing when it comes to labels. Guest interviews and everything from pop country to bluegrass and folk to hip hop. This is Off the Beaten Path.
Off the Beaten Path podcast. Me, Ben Merritt. Welcome back for another episode where I get to introduce you to some brand new country music out there. Maybe some of it you heard of, kind of like our, family reunion with Craig Campbell and Josh Thompson coming up. Or maybe it's some stuff that you've never heard of before, like the Rivertown Saints, Jess and the Bandits. Also, we're going to hear from Glenn Templeton, Lindsay L., and Tim Elliott is right around the corner. But I want to remind you that this featured episode this week is with Mr. Brian Collins. Brian's got himself a brand new album out there called Healing Highway. We're going to hear the title track from that, as well as Shine a Little Love. So again, looking forward to our great chat with Brian. And again, it's always your opportunity to introduce me to some of your favorite stuff as well. Just get in touch on the social medias, OTBP Podcast, for pretty much everything on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Again, you can get in touch with us that way. And if you want to get into a little bit more detail, then go ahead and shoot us an email at otbppodcast@gmail.com. Now, enough out of me. Here we go. This one is a pretty darn good tune. I like it a lot. It's Mr. Tim Elliott. And I go ahead and say that you should probably crank this one up to at least 10 or maybe 11 and roll the windows down because he's about to go boom.
10, was hanging with some friends when 9, you came in and blew my mind. And 8, maybe I can hardly wait to 7, catch a little glimpse of heaven. 6, I could get used to this. 5, feeling like I feel tonight. Cause 4, I gotta get some more. 3, 2, 1, baby, like boom, just about to knock me out. Boom, spinning my world around. And boom, you a shot of TNT. It's dynamite what you do to me. Let's blow this joint and take off for the moon. Baby, like boom, oh, 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 oh. 10, baby, climb on in. 9, we're headed for a real good time. 8, crank up some old George Strait. 7, gonna turn it up to 11. 6, when I taste your lips. 5, you put me into overdrive. 4, think that's what we came here for. 3, 2, 1, baby, like boom, just about to knock me out. Boom, spinning my world around. And boom, you a shot of TNT. It's dynamite what you do to me. Let's blow this joint and take off for the moon. Baby, like boom, oh, 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 oh. Baby, like boom, oh, 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 oh. Fireworks in your eyes. I'm about to take you out of this world, gonna make it go boom, just about to knock me out. Boom, spinning my world around. And boom, like a shot of TNT. It's dynamite what you do to me. Boom, just about to knock me out. Boom, spinning my world around. And boom, you a shot of TNT. It's dynamite what you do to me. Let's blow this town and take off for the moon. Baby, like boom, oh, 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 oh. Baby, like boom, oh, 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 oh. Baby, like boom.
Please welcome the one and only
Off the Beaten Path with Ben Merritt.
Thank you, Mr. Cowboy Boots, for making a fool of me. Now I know not to trust every sweet-talking boy in a pair of tight blue jeans. And thank you, Mr. Baseball Cap, for standing me up. You left me at the car alone, and that's where I met Mr. Pickup Truck. How long did you think that I'm still lonely? Oh, I guess you didn't know me. I'm good at getting old. Goodbye. Good thing I am stuck with you forever. By the way, hey, guess who's going out tonight? By the way, hey, guess who's going out tonight? Sorry if you just tuned in and you're looking for a second chance. Miss you, well, I didn't have time, I was busy making other plans. They say everything happens for a reason, kinda like you leaving me here where I am, getting on with my life. How long did you think that I'm still lonely? Oh, I guess you didn't know me. I'm good at getting old. Goodbye. Good thing I am stuck with you forever. By the way, hey, guess who's going out tonight? By the way, hey, guess who's going out tonight? Ain't broke like before. Hey, yeah, I don't miss you anymore. Hey, and just in case you're wondering, I've been doing alright. And hey, by the way, guess who's going out tonight? By the way, hey, guess who's going out tonight?
Path podcast with me, Ben Merritt. There you go. That is Lindsay L. And by the way, she is an amazing guitarist, by the way, too. Gonna work on trying to get her on the show, actually. I think I would have a great time chatting with Miss Lindsay L. So, Ben Merritt taking you through some brand new country music. On the way, we'll have our family reunion with the esteemed guest, Mr. Craig Campbell, and also Josh Thompson featuring Justin Moore. So look forward to that one in a little bit. Then we chat with Brian Collins as well. But right now, Glenn Templeton is not a brand new name to this podcast or to the world of country music. He is a force that is growing to be reckoned with. And pretty soon, you'll be hearing him a lot on the radio. Right now, here is his latest single. It's called Anyone Else. And it's right here on Off the Beaten Path podcast with me, Ben Merritt.
It ain't always easy to love somebody you can't live without. You drive me crazy, but somehow, babe, you pull me back around. Even on our worst day when we're fighting like we're enemies, there ain't no doubting you're the only one for me. I wouldn't get in my car and drive across town if you were anyone else. I wouldn't stand out in the rain willing to make a fool of myself. No, I wouldn't give in just to taste your kiss, and you know damn well I wouldn't fight like hell if you were anyone else. If you were anyone else. Sometimes I hate you, or at least I want to, but I can't stay mad. 'Cause I love you enough to take off my gloves and reach out my hand. I may get far enough to let the dust settle down, but fast as I leave, I'm always turning back around. I wouldn't get in my car, drive across town if you were anyone else. drive across town if you were anyone else. I wouldn't stand out in the rain, willing to make a fool of myself. No, I wouldn't give in just to taste your kiss, and you know damn well I wouldn't fight like hell if you were anyone else. 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 If you were anyone else.
Do you know a band Ben doesn't? Tell us who you are digging on Facebook.com/OTBP Podcast, Twitter @OTBP Podcast, or email OTBPpodcast@gmail.com.
My grandpa taught me about buck knives and shotguns, how to cast an old Zebco, and how to work a stick shift. He taught me the Bible and about all 12 disciples, and he made sure that I know there's life after this, with pearly gates and streets of gold. He said if I just believe, that's where I'll go. But Lord, when I die, I wanna live on the outskirts of heaven, where there's dirt roads for miles, hay in the fields, and fish in the river. Where there's dogwood trees and honeybees and blue skies and green grass forever. Lord, when I die, I wanna live on the outskirts of heaven. Now it says in the King James, the Almighty's kingdom, he mentions a mansion that he's built just for me. Now I'd gladly trade it for a farmhouse with acreage and a backyard that's shaded and a squeaky front porch swing. That's where I wanna hang my wings when I die. I wanna live on the outskirts of heaven, where there's dirt roads for miles, hay in the fields, and fish in the river, and where there's dogwood trees and honeybees and blue skies and green grass forever. So Lord, when I die, I wanna live on the outskirts of heaven. Yeah, the good Lord knows me. He knows I need blue skies and green grass forever. Lord, when I die, I wanna live on the outskirts of heaven. Yeah, when I die, I wanna live on the outskirts of heaven.
Off the Beaten Path podcast, me, Ben Merritt. Family reunion right there with Mr. Craig Campbell, his brand new tune. That is Outskirts of Heaven. That's coming off of a new project that's yet to be announced. Hopefully we'll hear something coming from him very quickly on that. Again, Craig Campbell, great dude. Awesome to have him on the show, and I'm really looking forward to new music from him all the time. And Outskirts of Heaven just wetted my whistle just a little bit more. Ben Merritt hanging out with you again. We got Brian Collins, our featured guest, coming up in a matter of mere minutes. But before we get to him, Josh Thompson was actually an in-studio guest. He was a lot of fun to chat with. And, again, a guy that I have met a couple of times, Mr. Justin Moore on this one. He'll never probably be on the show because he's awful well established. But there's one thing that these two guys hold in common, besides the fact that they're outdoorsmen, great country music artists, and crazy rednecks. They're living like Hank. Here it is. It's Josh Thompson featuring Mr. Justin Moore. It's Off the Beaten Path podcast. Me, Ben Merritt.
This Chevy van's a long way from that 1952 blue Cadillac.
Sure is. Yeah, the cities and the highways and the music's changed, but other than that,
feelings still get wrote down, put to chords and sang to crowds, and those singers fly around like boomerangs. Yeah, living like Hank. What's next?
still give it everything it takes, and take some things along the way to hell.
Sure do. Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's a love 'em and leave 'em game, and when it's time to walk away, oh well. Come on.
Whiskey helps the shortfalls when every night's a long haul
To get to where you got to be on stage.
Oh, living like Hank.
We saw this town to town, never slowing down. And if I die young, well, I sure had me some fun on this lonesome highway in this dream I chase. When you're living like Hank.
Well, I've spent night after night sitting up and waiting on crack of dawn.
I've been there too. Yeah, I've had mornings waking up under wagons I should have been riding on. Yeah, I know mama wouldn't be proud if she knew the ins and outs and the shape that I get in and where I hang. Yeah, when you're living like Hank. We saw this town to town, never slowing down. And if I die young, well, I sure had me some fun on this lonesome highway in this dream I chase. Yeah, when you're living like Hank. Slowing down. And if I die young, well, I sure had me some fun on this lonesome highway in this dream I chase. Yeah, when you're living like Hank. Yeah, we're living like Hank.
Damn right we are.
I don't think Hank done it this way, but we're living like Hank. This record is in no way meant to say that I think I'm Hank Williams, or I'm trying to be like Hank Williams. I'm just saying that I love Hank Williams. Me too. And he's the reason I ever picked up a guitar, and I'm just glad to be doing what I'm doing.
Preach on, Brother Thompson.
Out here, loose cannon, traveling around.
Your home for new and upcoming country music.
Everybody ready?
We're ready.
Let's kick the tires and light
Main engine start. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Blast off!
Off the Beaten Path with Ben Merritt.
Off the Beaten Path podcast with me, Ben Merritt. The opportunity arises every week because there are so many great new up-and-coming names in country music that I get to introduce you personally to an up-and-comer. And we've had this guy on the show before with other previous songs like Never Really Left and Shine a Little Love. And, well, actually, we're going to listen to that one in a little bit as well because he's got a new track out called Healing Highway. His name is Brian Collins. Brian's on the phone. How are you, Brian?
Hey, man, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Definitely. Now, Brian, I didn't warn you about this. I always give everybody a quick rundown of the interview, how it's going to go, you know, what we're going to do, when we're going to play the song, stuff like that. But I never tell them about the icebreaker questions. Avid listeners always know that I've got icebreaker questions, but the interview never knows until I ask them. So are you ready for these, sir?
Sure, go right for it.
All right, there's only 2, so don't worry. It's not, and we're not going to ask you anything too deeply personal, but
all right.
Question number 1, and again, this is feel free to be as specific or non-specific because more than likely you won't be there when they hear the interview. Where are you right now?
I am in Atlanta, Georgia, in my little office.
There you go, doing a little work.
Yeah. Well, you know, this is where I do my writing. I have my guitar here, and I have my couch, and then there's this big television that's always staring me in the face. And I'm like, you know, especially now that they got all the new Netflix stuff coming out, you know, you would think that I'd be on the House of Cards, but I'm really finding myself watching Fuller House. And I'm like, you know, I couldn't turn it off. I'm like, why am I watching this? And yet it's like a car wreck, man. I go to the next episode.
Well, because you're just like, well, heck, I'm already 6 episodes in. There's only, 10 more to go. I might as well keep going.
Well, I'm still amazed that Kimmy Gibbler has an acting job now. It's like that's the only way they can find her to get her an acting.
Her whole career, she's just been like, man, I'm waiting for Full House 2. That's all I'm waiting for. Just waiting on that.
Yeah, but the whole cast was like they were dipped in formaldehyde. And, nobody aged a bit except, I guess, Bob Saget's a little bloated, But
yeah, but
we know the real Bob Saget now. Nobody knew who the real Bob Saget was when.
Right. Oh.
I like the real Bob Saget, to be honest.
I like that little blue comedy that he's got there, but
yeah.
Oh man, I can't wait for Daredevil the next season to come out. But anyway, this isn't a Netflix chat, Brian. We're here to talk about you.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Icebreaker question number 2. This is one that I really am falling in love with. I used to change this question up a lot, kind of keep everybody guessing on which one I was going to ask, but I'm just going to keep asking this one forever from now on.
Okay.
Icebreaker question number 2 is, and you're going to give me a great answer, I feel, and this is why I ask this. If we were to hit eject in your car or turn your iPod on right now, what was the last thing you were listening to?
Well, I've been on tour, so I've had my guitar player and my keyboard player have been driving the bus lately. So it's sort of like when you're the captain, you get control of the music. But it wasn't so bad. It was actually the soul station, the 60s soul.
Oh,
so you got to. Yeah, so you got some Al Green in there, maybe some Otis Redding, and some, dash of, just that the whole '60s soul genre. But in the CD player, I don't have anything because this it's a new vehicle, and I don't even know if it has a CD player in it anymore. But on my record player at home.
Now, see, I'm a vinyl fan. This is going to be a good answer.
Yeah. Now, I have Bob Seger live with the Silver Bullet Band.
Hang on, Brian.
That's what's on. Yeah.
Did you research me or something before we chatted this? Because I'm from the Metro Detroit area, so you say Bob Seger, automatically you're best friends with me.
Oh, all right. Well, there you go, man. I'm just man, I love that sound, and you know, and when you listen to 60 Soul and you listen to Bob Seger, it ain't too far away, man.
Not at all, yeah.
You know where he got his, you know, his soul. He loved those guys too. So
well, the Motown sound, it bleeds into everything. So
it does, and I think it needs to be back out again. I mean, and you know, you kind of hear it in some of this, a lot of this new indie music. You know, the indie music has a lot of, they're kind of reinventing that soul. It's a little homogenized, you know, but but I'm glad that it's coming around because it's a great sound.
Well, I would even say that you kind of have a soulful, bluesy kind of sound to your music as well too. So I think you fit into that category pretty well as well.
Yeah, you know, I'm not limited to just, you know, one sound. I didn't grow up with one sound. I grew up with many sounds.
Right.
And you know, that's when I open my voice, that's me, you know, that's my personality, that's my heart, and that's my soul. That's, you know, the voice is a very personal thing, man. It's identified, you know, to each individual. So I like to express myself as much as I can, as soulful as I can. So,
and I think you're succeeding, definitely, sir. Brian Collins here on Off the Beaten Path podcast with me, Ben Merritt, and Brian's a Georgia boy, and we were talking off air. You know, you think of country music, you think of, you know, like Texas and Tennessee, and you know, into the South a lot, but Georgia has its kind of Georgia has a rap background, or, you know, I mean, it kind of has a melting pot sound, actually. I mean, there's a lot of great country music that comes out of Georgia, but there's also a lot of hip-hop artists that come from Georgia, and, you know, a lot of great indie bands come from Georgia. Georgia has, like, a melting pot of music out there.
Yeah, I just think it's, you know, a lot of just the culture and heritage of the Southern sound, you know, obviously has been down here for many years, and then, you know, as I don't know, you know, I would guess that, you know, a lot of people moved here to the Southeast. It kind of was a boom a little bit. Mm-hmm. People moved from all over, and, you know, and it's kind of the hub of the Southeast. So you're just going to have a melting pot of influences and sounds and people, and you know, and I think a lot of that tends to bleed over into today's artists and into their sounds, you know, and so that's my scientific deduction right there, man.
If you had,
that's my thesis,
Well, I think it's kind of great because, you know, you go to Tennessee and you're walking up and down Broadway, you go from bar to bar, you're going to get a lot of country, some classic rock, you know, you're going to get the occasional, like, Old Crow Medicine Show kind of song. But
sure, you
go to Atlanta, you could probably hear 4 or 5, 6 different genres just standing downtown from, you know, each, you know, corner of the block, probably.
Yeah, you really can. I mean, there, you know, when I was really working the circuit here in Atlanta in the early 2000s, you know, there was a scene in Buckhead where back then it was the Roxy was at the top of the hill. I called it the Buckhead Triangle because it kind of had, you know, these streets kind of came in at a triangle, and in that triangle were all these bars and venues, and, you know, it was just acoustic music, and then you had hip-hop clubs, and you also had dance clubs, and then you had fine dining, and then you had jazz and piano bars. So all this music was all mashed up in this one area, and, you know, I used to play this place called the Tin Roof. It was the original Tin Roof cantina that when you go to Nashville, you'll see Tin Roof there on Demumbrian, but the original one was in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I used to play there. It had an open back deck, and it would shoot straight up that hill right to the Roxy. So all that music was kind of getting pipelined all the way to the Roxy. So guys would come in from out of town on tour, and they'd just say, well, man, where do you go? And they would hear the music just coming down, and it was just like the Pied Piper leading the rats through the gutters, you know. So you'd get guys like Matchbox 20, Darius Rucker or Hootie, you know, as we knew him back then.
Right.
I don't know who he's fooling. It's Hootie.
It's Hootie. You're Hootie. Yeah.
But and the Blowfish, they came in there too. But you know,
and the
you get guys
Blowfish.
like that.
No,
yeah, man.
No
They
way.
would all come in. Edwin McCain. You know, we had David Ryan Harris working the door there.
Wow.
It was my first encounter with what's his name? The guitar playing kid. He's not a kid anymore, but
Kenny Wade Shepherd.
No, the other Kenny Wade Shepherd. Oh God, what is his name? He's done a trio project. Anyway, it'll come to me in a minute. But
John Butler.
John Mayer.
John Mayer. Gotcha.
John Mayer. Yeah. Well, so him and Clay Cook used to have a little band called the Lo-Fi Masters, and they would all hang out. And then, of course, Zach Brown was down there a lot.
Yep.
And that's sort of the area where Zach met John Hopkins, bass player, and it was just like a music mecca, man. A lot of things came out of that little area. So,
it's quite the place to learn the music business, I would say.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's all bulldozed now. You know, they got a whole new. It's a whole new scene now. But man, what a great time that was to be playing music in Atlanta. So
there you go. Well, Brian Collins here on Off the Beaten Path podcast. Brian, let's take a listen to one of the tunes that we've heard from you in the past, but it's not a terrible tune. It's not a bad tune. People still love it. It's called Shine a Little Love. Tell us a little bit about that one before we take a listen to it.
Yeah, you know, when I was doing the Healing Highway album, you know, this was one of the last tracks that I was kind of working on, and I was really feeling that the album needed just one of those lift you up, pay it forward message type songs, and I kind of had this one in my back pocket, and I had kind of been playing this melody and had this title and this music, and I kind of worked it together with a friend of mine, Paige Logan, who was in North 40. I don't know if you've ever heard of that band, but she's the co-writer on that. And we kind of got together, and she's kind of a kindred spirit. So her and I both were just all over this song, and it kind of it just pretty much wrote itself. And it was just all the things that you want to say when you're just trying to talk about somebody lending a hand and picking each other up. And you know, because we all are in this together, and, you know, and that's a fact. So, you know, we can make life a lot easier by lending a hand, you know. So,
there you go. All right.
And apparently the people have spoken, you know, they seem to like it out there.
Yeah, you've had some success with Shine a Little Love.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, being independent and breaking top 10 radio was quite a surprise for me, but it's just also a blessing, and I only have the listeners and country radio to thank for that. So
definitely. Well, let's take a listen to it, and Brian, you stick around. We got more to talk about, all right?
All right, I'm here.
There we go. Brian Collins on Off the Beaten Path podcast. Here it is. It's Shine a Little Love.
You're not alone. I can see you're needing a friend to lend you a hand from out of the cold. And it won't hurt like this forever. It's all gonna work out fine. And we're all in this together. Shine a little love for me. Let your light surround it, and don't just talk about it. Come on, shine a little love for me. And if that's something you can do, I'm gonna shine a little love for you. shine a little love for you. Whoa. And when life's weighing you down and you can't find your way out, just remember that someone cares. Yeah, baby, I've been there. We're all in this together. Blue skies or stormy weather. Come on, shine a little love for me. Let your light surround it, and don't just talk about it. Come on, shine a little love for me. And we're all in this together. Blue skies or stormy weather. Come on, shine a little love for me. Let your light surround it, and don't just talk about it. Come on, shine a little love for me. And if that's something you can do, well, I'm gonna shine a little love for you too.
So there you have it. The song you've heard here on the show before, Shine a Little Love from Mr. Brian Collins. Brian on the line. Brian, are you getting any work done, or is that TV on now playing Fuller House?
Oh, you know, I've actually, I've kind of been on the road doing touring. So, like, we did a leg of some shows in Florida, and so I'm kind of sitting around relaxing a bit. The TV may or may not be on right now. I'm gonna let you guys wander out there.
There you go.
But I get distracted too easy. I can't have a TV on.
Well, I was kind of hoping at least you got it paused while we're talking. I mean,
yeah. Well, you know, it's I'm kind of been binge watching the Fuller House on Netflix as opposed to watching House of Cards. So I don't know whether to be ashamed of that or proud of that.
Hey, man,
because nothing wrong with good wholesome family entertainment.
Exactly. I'm waiting for the Olsen twins to show up and just really turn season 2. Like, if they show up at the beginning of season 2, you know season 2 is going to be completely different than season 1 was. So.
Well, the thing about the Olsen twins is that they were never twins on the show.
Right.
They were only the one person, so I don't know how they're going to work that in.
Oh, I think it'd be great if they still tried to do the same thing. Like, every other scene, Mary-Kate and Ashley just, like, flip-flop.
Yeah, I would suppose that would be... I'm wondering if it's going to be both or just one. But, I'm just glad Kimmy Gibbler has work now.
Yeah.
You know, so...
Got to feel that love for Kimmy, you know, so...
Well, you know, that's... but I'm pretty astounded that none of the cast has even aged really one bit. It's other than Bob Saget.
I love me some Dave Coulier, so...
Yeah, because the Moose accent never gets old.
Well, I can't...
The Rocky and Bullwinkle routine.
Yeah, I can't do a very good Rocky or Bullwinkle, so let's just Fuller House with Brian Collins is that'll be the next show that we do. How about that?
Yeah, we'll do all the catchphrases.
There you go.
of Fuller House.
There it is.
How rude, right? One, how rude.
Nice.
And then I forget the others.
Yeah, well, it's all right. We've got to do our research before we can do that episode, so don't worry. Brian Collins here on Off the Beaten Path podcast, me, Ben Merritt. It's Brian is a singer-songwriter from Georgia. We've talked about that. But on top of writing and singing your own tunes, you're a producer, you're an engineer, you've got graphic designer under your belt as well. I mean, pretty much the only thing that you don't do is, I mean, what? Are you a drum tech? Can you tighten up the skins of the drums?
Well, you know, I've done that. That's part of being a producer. It's just maintaining, you know, as engineer and a producer, maintaining your own studio. And,
yeah.
I mean, this all kind of stemmed from me trying to figure out what the music business was all about. I really wanted to make it in the music, and you know, I come from a simple blue collar background, and you know, and it was just kind of roll your sleeves up and do it yourself kind of a, you know, mentality that I was raised with. And you know, nobody in my family was in the music business. I just kind of had a knack for writing songs and singing, and then you know, I just had some friends that were also into recording, so I'd watch what they did and kind of pick up on some things. And I realized that all these were necessary tools to make this happen. I mean, you can write a song and sing it, but if you don't put it down right and market it, nobody's going to hear it, you know. And so these are the things that I sort of picked up along the way, and just, I guess, apparently had some kind of a knack for it. So,
well, it also kind of builds your confidence when you go into, you know, meetings, especially as an up and comer. You know, your first time in a big meeting where it's like, hey, is this the song that you want to push to radio? Well, why? And blah blah blah. You know, it probably made it a lot easier for you to just sit down and go, this is the one that I want. This is why it's, you know, the best song on the album. This is why people will get a catch out of it, you know, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I that does really kind of come into play. I mean, I've been around, you know, music a lot, and to me, people will tell you what a hit is and what isn't a hit, but I think, you know, I think I have enough honesty with myself to step back and go, all right, well, that song I really do feel would be great on radio, and so far I'm 2 for 2 on this album.
Not to toot my own horn, but I could do that too if you need me to. I can toot a horn.
Yeah, but you know, I think it's just being honest with yourself. You know, when you can finally just sort of reach that point and be honest and go, hey, you know, I love this song, but it is not for radio. That doesn't mean it's not a great song. There's a lot of great songs that aren't meant for radio. I mean, it's just, obviously you guys have to keep, you know, that 3.5 to 4 minute mark going there, so you can squeeze in the next tune and get your ad space in, you know, because it's all about paying the bills, and that's the business side of music business. But you know, I would say it has helped me though, just sort of narrow things down, because it can be expensive if you pick the wrong one.
Right.
So.
You know, it's a lot of time and energy and things like that involved, and if you're pushing something that you don't even feel confident about at the beginning, then obviously the listener's not going to feel it too. So.
Well, with that being said, you know, I think somebody had asked me a question, you know, or asked me for advice about songwriting, and I said, just be honest and write what you know, and if you don't know it, research it. And with that being said, because I mean, nobody's going to believe it if you don't believe the song yourself,
right? And
singing it out there. Because to me, it's singing it so people believe it, you know. And there's a reason why George is the king of country,
right?
Because he can make you believe, you know, an ice cream ad. So.
Ice cream is good for you, and it's fat-free.
Yes, exactly.
George Strait says so.
Yep, just because George Strait said it, I'm doing it.
There you go.
You know, that's why I watch Pure Country. He already just started singing the song, and I had to watch the movie. So.
I'm actually one of those few country music DJs that has never seen the movie Pure Country.
Oh, man, you have.
But
okay,
I've seen 8 seconds.
8 seconds of the movie,
no.
8 seconds of it?
No, the movie 8 seconds with Luke Perry.
No, that's what I'm saying. I only watched 8 seconds of 8 seconds. I said, yeah, that's enough. I know how that is.
Well, yeah, it's a biopic. Obviously, you know how it ends. But anyway, Brian Collins. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, hey, well, while you're watching Pure Country, make sure you roll in Roadhouse to even it out, you know. So.
I've seen Roadhouse dozens of times, though.
There you go. There you go.
Brian Collins here on Off the Beaten Path podcast. Meet Ben Merritt. Brian, this is where we make all the managers and all the promotions teams and everybody. Well, actually, it's a lot of you that would make happy. It's the Pimp Yourself portion. Tell everybody how they can follow along with your upcoming career.
Sure. as simple as logging on to my website. It's briancollinsmusic.com, and that's Brian with an I. And you can also visit me on Twitter. It's official BCB is my handle.
Mm-hmm.
That is also my Instagram handle. And then you can go to Facebook. It's official Brian Collins Band. But all that stuff is all found on back on my website, briancollinsmusic.com, and you can find all those links.
There you go.
There. And merchandise and music.
And exactly, you stole my transition. You can find a link to get the new album called Healing Highway. Tell us about the album, and then we're taking a listen to the title track.
Yeah, Healing Highway, man. It's just it's a collection of songs of my collective journey from leaving Georgia and heading to Nashville and all the things that kind of happened in between, and it was my path on the Healing Highway, and that is the title track of the album.
All right. Well, it's a great album, a great tune. Brian, it's been great chatting with you, and now it's time for us to take a listen to the title track. Sound good, sir?
Yeah, let's play it.
All right. Brian, appreciate your time, and thanks for hanging out with us here on Off the Beaten Path.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Most definitely. Here it is. It's the title track off the album. This is Healing Highway. It's Brian Collins. It's Off the Beaten Path podcast. Really, Ben there.
There's a long stretch of blacktop to who knows where. Hope it's long enough to get me there. I'm gonna drive till I can't see your face no more. I hear the sound of the slamming door. I could change my mind, I could call your name, but I'm already headed down the healing highway. The healing highway. Hey baby, that's my way. I got the pedal to the floor. I'm gonna run till I'm done with this heartache. Gonna find someone that wants to get on board. The healing highway. Gonna drive through the night till the moon gives up. Black as the bottom of my coffee cup. But it's better than the bitterness left behind. Sweeter than the same old state of mind. And if I can't go on, I know where I'll stay. I'll lay my head down on the shoulder of the healing highway. The healing highway. Hey baby, that's my way. I got the pedal to the floor. I'm gonna run till I'm done with this heartache. Gonna find someone that wants to get on board. The healing highway. The healing highway. You could change your mind. You could call my name. But I'm already headed down the healing highway. Yes, I'm long gone, baby, down the healing highway.
Young artists, Get your music on the show by emailing Ben at otbppodcast@gmail.com.
Oh, you're reaching for a reason to hold back what you're feeling. I know you wanna make a move, but you think too much. So there's no misunderstanding where your lips should be landing. Watch me make it easy for the both of us. I'm gonna kiss you now like you've never been kissed. Wrap your arms around my hips. I wanna make your heart race while the world slows down. And you're gonna kiss me back. Let down your guard as the lights are cloud on the boulevard. Go on, steal my heart while the world spins round. And I'm gonna kiss you now, now, now. I'm gonna kiss you now. Oh, it's always been unspoken, all these paralyzed emotions. I think you thought we all are not complicated, but I welcome complications, so I'll start the conversation. Yeah, I bet you never thought you'd hear me say this. I'm gonna kiss you now like you've never been kissed. Wrap your arms around my hips. I wanna make your heart race while the world slows down. And you're gonna kiss me back. Let down your guard as the lights are cloud on the boulevard. Go on, steal my heart while the world spins round. And I'm gonna kiss you now, now, now. And I'm gonna kiss you now, now, now. Oh, ain't it time we cross the line? We can't regret, we can't rewind.
I'm gonna kiss you now, like you've never been kissed. Wrap your arms around my hips. Gonna make your heart race while the world slows down.
I'm gonna kiss you now, like you've never been kissed. Wrap your arms around my hips. I wanna make your heart race while the world slows down. You're gonna kiss me back. Let down your guard as the lights are cloud on the boulevard. Go on, steal my heart while the world spins round. I'm gonna kiss you now, now, now. I'm gonna kiss you, I'm gonna kiss you
Off the Beaten Path podcast, me, Ben Merritt. There you go. That's Jess and the Bandits with their single called Kiss You Now. Speaking of which, no, I'm just kidding. Make sure that you check them out. They hail from Houston. If you're a listener of mine in the UK, coming up here pretty quickly, throughout the month of April and May, Jess and the Bandits will be touring through the UK. They're Hull, Birmingham, or Birmingham, I don't know how pronounced over there, but London, Gateshead, Edinburgh, I know that one, Southampton, and Norwich. So again, make sure that you check them out. Jess and the Bandits heading your way in the UK. If they piqued your interest, also head on over to their website, jessandthebandits.com. Got some great stuff over there too. Definitely check them out. I'm looking at their Facebook page right now, and they seem to know what they're doing. They were just at the ACM Awards on Sunday, so there you go. Ben Merritt hanging out with you here, introducing you to some brand new country music, hopefully. And we'll talk about this single here in just a little bit. This is the Rivertown Saints, and a little bit goes a long way on Off the Beaten Path podcast. Me, Ben Merritt.
Life takes a little bit of love, a little bit of rain, and a little bit of sun. Ain't no shame in feeling alright, getting down on a Friday night. Go a little too far, a little too fast, get a little bit of something in your glass. Take the good with the bad, work with the play. A little bit goes a long way. We don't need much, it'll be enough, just you and me. Half tank of gas and a place to get stuck somewhere with the view. Should be watching that sunset, but I'm just staring at you. Yeah, that's all I wanna do. to the water, take a little bit off. 'Cause life takes a little bit of love, a little bit of rain, and a little bit of sun. Ain't no shame in feeling alright, getting down on a Friday night. Go a little too far, a little too fast, get a little bit of something in your glass. Take the good with the bad, the work with the play. A little bit goes a long way. Sun, ain't no shame in feeling alright, getting down on a Friday night. Go a little too far, a little too fast, get a little bit of something in your glass. Take the good with the bad, the work with the play. A little bit goes a long way. A little bit goes a long way. A little bit goes a long way.
Off the Beaten Path podcast, me, Ben Merritt. There you go, the Rivertown Saints, all the way from the capital city of Canada, Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Again, these boys are destined for great things. They just wrapped up a supporting role on Mr. Tim Hicks's College Throwdown Tour. And as we all know, Tim Hicks, I'm a big fan of him. So again, Rivertown Saints, check them out. That is their debut single. That is A Little Bit Goes a Long Way. Check them out. Good stuff, definitely. Find them on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Again, it's just Rivertown Saints to find those guys. Definitely call in those requests if you live in Canada and even if you live in the States. You never know. Again, as a country music DJ, a listener's request goes a lot longer and a lot farther than a press contact calling me and saying, hey, you should play these guys. They're good. I'd rather have a fan or a listener call me up and go, hey, these guys are great. I think they're going to be huge. Take a listen to them. Trust me, it goes a lot further than you think. Ben Merritt taking you all the way up through some brand new tunes. And again, thank you for hanging out with us for the entire hour. Again, thanks to Brian Collins for being our guest here this episode. Again, hanging out with us. It's great times. Definitely a good conversation with Mr. Brian Collins. Stick around next week when you get to hear the Canes. It's going to be a good one. The Canes are a family trio, not unlike the band Perry, but just in the inverse. Instead of only one girl in the Canes, it's one guy. Sorry, Logan. So again, thank you for hanging out with us. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, OTBP Podcast. And you can email us as well, too. Even if you're in a band, feel free to email us at otbppodcast@gmail.com. Join us again next week for the Canes. Other than that, hopefully you found something new to listen to for the next week or longer here on Off the Beaten Path Podcast. Me, Ben Merritt. Bye-bye.